that was a good breakup because when I got out of that interview, it was like, even he told me to stick with entrepreneurship. She was still like, no, like, no, you can't afford our dates. You need to get this job. Yeah.
All right, welcome to the show. Welcome to the New Age Human Podcast. We're gonna be talking about some interesting stuff today. I have a friend here who's gonna talk about entrepreneurship, and this is for people that are looking to be entrepreneurs, looking to get out there because the economy is a little shaky. So we have my friend here, Derek Videll. He's the host of Social Media Entrepreneurs Podcast, the founder of socialbamboo.com, and very interesting, aspiring inventor. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Great to be here, John. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Aspiring inventor, what are you looking to invent? I'm actually really curious because that one was in your bio. I'm like, oh, I just want to peek into that because I always wanted to be an inventor myself.
Yeah. I'll talk about my first invention on the show now that one's given up, but I'm on to the next one. And I realized as of a month ago that the next entrepreneurship phase for me is going to be mostly around inventing products, launching the store, getting its initial sales, and then trying to sell it, and then just inventing the next thing. That's what inspires me the most right now. So I'm going to run with that.
Okay. And it must take a lot to start inventing things, especially whether now we can invent software, we can invent hardware, we can invent tools and stuff. So interesting stuff. And we were talking a little bit before this and kind of setting up today's show to really peel back the layers of what it means to be an entrepreneur, especially in today's world. So I wanted to dive into your journey because, of course, just like every business, everything's easy, right? You just do it and then you become wealthy and then,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how it works. But how did
I
it
just
work
put
for
my
you?
Venmo link in my Instagram bio and money just started coming in.
Right. You just kind of put your name. Everybody knows who you are. And then you put that Venmo link and everybody knows what that is. And they're going to just pay
They
you
just
the
pay it.
Maximum amount. That's usually what happens. And
Yeah,
I think
2,500 is the max.
Yeah. So
It's been good.
it's been good. So like, maybe we can go back to what made you, was there a point in your life where you're like, that's it, I'm going to be in the business for myself? There's gotta be like a trigger
Yeah.
moment for you.
Yeah, so it was when I was in college and I had every intention of getting out of college, getting a job, working my way up through that company, getting promoted, and that was the success path to me that I could see. And it was my junior year of college that I got a job in sales. And even a year in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna just, when I graduate, I'm gonna get the real job. I kept letting my sales manager know. And it's funny because he just kept acting like he didn't even hear me say that. Like, I'd have a meeting with him, like 2 managers up, and he'd be like, all right, cool. So you're looking to do other things outside of college. Got it, blah, blah, blah. And then later that day, I talked to my one up manager and he said, oh, so you told me you're thinking of being a career representative. I was like, that is not at all what I told him. I told him I want to graduate, but I don't know. I guess he was right in the end because 2.5 years into it, when I did finally graduate, I hit the job market. And when these jobs were telling me I was going to have to drive the company car or wake up at a certain hour, be there at a certain time, and make a pretty low salary compared to what I was already making in sales and have to move, I was
Wow.
like, wait, what am I doing? So I actually never went into the corporate world. I only had like server jobs, and then I got into sales, and then I stuck with that for a few years after college.
It's interesting how at first they were like, yeah, that's nice. He's gonna
Yeah.
be here forever.
Yeah.
Like selling you on staying forever. And it's interesting how you're like, no, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna be doing big things, and that's an awesome attitude to have, especially when a lot of people find themselves at a job and then they're there like 10 years later and like, oh my God, like I never planned for this, right? And I like to see that you just were like, I'm not gonna go for any opportunity. I'm not gonna just up and leave. Like, what's in it for me, right? And a lot of the companies, it seems like that you ran into where it's what's in it for them. You have a skill. If you want to work for us, you're gonna have to bend over backwards and, you know, move, relocate. And,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so, um, what would you say it is like as far let's say your journey, like, I'm sure there was a point in time where it was, like, difficult, like, there was, like I mean, was there ever a time that you thought you were just gonna give up and be like, "You know, I'm gonna find a corporate job, like, this is BS."
Yeah, there were multiple times that I tried to leave the company. That first time was when I first graduated college and was 2.5 years into the sales job. Got the offer for like the 40K job, makes me move, all this stuff. And I was like, no, I'll stay here. Then a couple of years in, I did have a lot of moments too. I know that you're asking about like, did I ever just feel like I wasn't good enough for sales and just like hit rock bottom? That absolutely happens, especially in the first couple years. And each time had a different fix, like a mental shift out of it. And the funny thing is usually you just need one big sale to be like, oh yeah, I can do it. So most sales reps are like one sale away from being out of a sales slump
Mm,
is what most of those stories ended up being. So you do have to just keep working through it because obviously, like your actual results are the only sure way to pull you out of a sales slump or just lack of confidence. But the times that I thought I wanted to leave the company, I probably shopped around again, like 4 or 5 years in, and that was like a 70K sales job. It was still me driving all around the state of Colorado to like the small towns to try to sell this new uh, piece of medical sales equipment to very small hospitals. Wake up at 4 a.m. to find the surgeon before his surgery. Like it was just like, again, I was like, okay, well, at least this pay is higher, but still, it recommitted me back to what I was doing. So it's always good to explore your options whenever you are thinking, maybe I do want to do something else. And this happens with entrepreneurship too. Sometimes people say, yeah, I want to open my own business. And then they get into it and they find out that it's not really what they want to do. But now it's no longer a thought just lingering in your mind, or it's not this what if I started that business that you take to your grave and you're like, what if I started it? And really, all that would have happened is you would have started it, and 2 months in, you would have been like, "Oh, I don't really like it," and then you would have never thought of it again. So
mhm.
that's why you really just want to give it a shot, no matter what. Like, just try it. You can always quit later, but don't just have your story be, "I never even tried," and then that's just what you tell yourself forever. That would be pretty haunting. And then 7 years in, I had actually already started the podcast for about a year. I had an e-commerce company. The podcast was actually like only a couple months, and the e-commerce company was like a year in. Neither of them were really making any money yet. I was still doing my sales job, so I was juggling three opportunities. And then a job opportunity came to me that was like 150K was like
Mm,
probably what I was gonna make. And now I was getting like the real money offers, and I got to the interview, and I got to the third round, and the VP of the company is who's interviewing me now, and he's like the first one to actually read my resume. It was the funny thing, and he sees that I listed like all my entrepreneur experience on there because that's what I wanted to put on there. I'm like, I'm inventing this. Like I was like, this is what's really impressive, more so than my college even. So let me just put that. And then he's like, wait, what is this? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's something I'm working on right now. And he's like, I got to tell you, man, do not take this job. Like, I make a lot of money. I do not like my life at all. If you are trying to be an entrepreneur, like, you're not going to do well here. Like, we want us to be your first and only love. Like, unless you make this your life for the next couple of years, you're not going to get good at it. And like, this isn't like something that you can kind of just like I wanted to basically swap Cutco for that for the time being. And he's like, do you have a boss over there? And he's like, no, you're in the perfect situation. You need to just keep selling that. And it was funny because it was like the girl I was dating at the time kind of pushed me in this direction. And that was like right at the time we broke up too. So it was kind of, it really brought it all home. Like, okay, that was a good breakup because when I got out of that interview, it was like, even he told me to stick with entrepreneurship. She was still like, no. Like, "No, you can't afford our dates. You need to get this job." Yeah, it was a really interesting time of my life. That was about 3 or 4 years ago now.
that
Um,
that's
yeah, more like
nuts.
4.
That is nuts. I wanna highlight the fact that you went to a job interview for a position that would make 150K, which is right around what most people are looking for, right? Like the 100K plus, and the person that's interviewing you obviously makes more. And then he says, "Wait, you're already getting into entrepreneurship? I hate my life. I really don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Keep doing what you're doing." And I'm like, that's such an inspiring situation. And I had recently had a very similar situation with a little twist where I had an interview with someone that sent out, like via LinkedIn, an opportunity, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is like a really good income job." It was right roughly around the same area as the offer that of the position with your conversation that you just mentioned, and they just had certain um, they pretty much wanted me to be immunized with the recent jab. Let's just say we're using code words, and they're like, that's like, he's like, I have to start out with that, and I said, wow, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna have to say no, even though it's an insane income boost for me. My heart is in my message and my mission to help people get out of the situation of needing to have a boss and being more self-sufficient, and then to give up a passion of mine, which is taking care of your own health. It was like, oh my God, this was a huge test. And so, in a different twist, it was like being an entrepreneur, you get to make those decisions. You don't have to, as the rules change around you and what qualifies, whether it be relocating or your health and qualifying, right? Being an entrepreneur has that power to be happy and make your income at the same time, and not interview somebody and say, I don't like my life, don't take the job. That's insane. Wow. It's like, it's almost like he gave up immediately after reading your resume. He gave up. He's like, I'm not even playing with this.
He was, like, mad at the former interviewers for not catching it because he's like, "No, the entrepreneurs don't do well here." I could tell that they've probably had some other, entrepreneur-minded people trying to start their own business on the side, and, yeah, I could tell that that job, I mean, they were like, "You're here by 7:30, we're on the phones at 8 till 12, then we do lunch, then we do meeting," like, it was very structured, and, I'm sure I could have gotten good at it eventually because it was just sales and what I was coming from, but it was like cold calling CEOs and trying to, like, get a meeting with them, and, it was like, "All right, like, maybe I could have done this over Cutco," but it certainly was not the time of my life where I wanted to do that. If I wanted to settle down in just a high-paying sales position at a company that's not mine, I could have done it, but yeah, you're right with entrepreneurship, it really is like everyone just makes decisions around their core values. So if your core values are around, I want security, I want to know what I'm getting paid, and all I got to do is be clean shaven and show up at a certain time, sure. For them, they're like, you can't have a beard. I'm like, oh, I don't even give a shit what you pay me. Like, even if I don't care about my beard that much, like, you can't control my facial hair. Fuck you. So like I draw the line real easy. Like, wait,
That's
be here at
passionate behind that.
7:30? Wait, stop, stop, stop. Like, what if I don't want to be there at that time? What if I wanted to play video games that morning? Okay, this is off the table. So, you know, I don't know. There's just you have to relate this to the audience to know if you really want to be an entrepreneur or not. It is not about you wanting to be an entrepreneur. It is more about you not wanting to be doing the other things. If you are like, it would be cool to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, it would be cool to be a rock star as well. If you don't want to play guitar 6 hours a day, go through multiple band members, have someone quit, work, go on tour, leave your family, do shows, and sign up for that, then you don't actually want to be a rock star. You're just seeing the result, like, oh, it'd be cool to be on stage and playing guitar right now instead of being in the audience, but you're not really seeing what they're actually signed up for. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. It sounds nice, like, oh, I'm just sitting here on a Tuesday morning enjoying my coffee with John. I just got to do a podcast today, and then later I got to do an Instagram post. Sounds fun, right? But then it's also like you have times where, like I worked on my first invention for 2.5 years, didn't sell a single one, had to pull the plug on it. And I had to turn down that big salary while making like no money, splitting my time between 3 jobs. Podcast was making nothing. E-commerce business was making nothing, or all profits just got rolled back in. And then because I was working those two things, I didn't have nearly as much time for my sales job, nor that I want to, but Now I was making way less there, and the pressure gets on you, and you still have to say, I'd rather be broke than take the other positions. And the difference maker of if you can do entrepreneurship or not, it's not about being born with like certain skill sets or talents to be on video, because really all these things are learnable. If you go back to my first video on YouTube, you can hopefully see a humongous difference of just delivery, because I watch and edit my YouTube videos. I say, don't do that gesture again. Like, it looked weird. Like, we're getting rid of that. And it's just a slow process of getting better, as everything is. So don't ever quit on entrepreneurship because you don't think it's because you think you have a skill deficiency that can be made up for in time. But the people who do give up are the ones that in the first couple years, if you're not okay being broke, so it makes it a lot harder the more people you have dependent on you. It's You're just gonna go back to the safety net at some point before you can get the skills. And that's just really the difference maker.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you brought up, yes, there are people out there, a lot of us have dependents, right? If you're the breadwinner of the house and you want to start this other project, don't forget you have something that's paying you, you know? And a lot of people start off like what you said you did, where you had this, whether it be a podcast or this project, this invention, your job or career, paying the bills while you're figuring it out, you know? And I've heard too many people just jump ship and they're like, I'm gonna make money day one in my business, and I quit everything. Like, I'm gonna go all in. And that's when you end up sleeping on the floor in your
Yeah.
car. And those are inspiring stories, but you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of those people didn't
Most of those
quit
people you'll
their
just
job
never
like
hear
that.
about
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because they
yeah.
didn't make it.
They didn't
You only
make
hear
it.
about the ones that didn't make it.
Exactly. You only hear about the ones, good point. You only hear about the ones that did make it. I did want to ask a
Uh-huh.
question though. You said that it's okay if to venture off into different ideas because now you're finding your passion, right? You thought you knew, and sometimes it was wrong or it just wasn't what you thought it was. How did you decipher what something was when it's like, you know what, it's quitting time, let's move on to the next? Because I
Yeah.
myself am stubborn. So what would you say in that situation?
It's a mix of things. Foundationally, mindset wise, it is knowing that the concept of never give up does not mean never give up on every idea you ever have. It means never give up on wanting to work for yourself, be your own boss, own your own company. And then besides that, I'm completely lenient with my decisions in the mix. If you come out with an invention, you're so sure about it, people told you it's a good idea, blah, 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 you're not making sales. My initial invention, uh, it, it was the aquarium smart feeder, I'll tell you. And I think when a lot of people hear it, they think, wow, like that should exist. It's a way to feed your fish with an like that doesn't already exist. Like, no, there's not an app for that already. And then we made it so you could say to the Amazon Echo to feed the fish and it would
Oh,
do it.
sweet.
And it's like, oh, so cool. Like we would tell the general public and everyone's like, that's gonna work. The problem is we'd have to sell it for over $100 for to make money on it, and it doesn't solve any problem at all. If you want to feed your fish, you just grab the freaking flakes, throw them in. Like I'm saving people like a half second of their life, right? So there's that. If you're not going to be home on time and oh we feel bad we can't feed the fish, like we basically saw like the automatic dog feeders was just selling like insane amounts, so we're like, all right, product proof, there you go. But like if you don't feed your fish for like 3 to 5 days, they're still probably going to be alive, so you can just be like, oh we'll just feed them when we get home. So there's like an urge to like, oh good thing I got spent $100 to feed them. Like it just didn't solve any problem, and that really is it. And that's what's really cool about business and like a lot of life is it's hard until it's easy. And then you look back and then now I'm like, the writing was on the wall, but I didn't even know what numbers I should be expecting. I didn't
Mm.
know I should have expected more pre-orders than that. Like you just don't have any perspective. So I don't at all look back at it like regret. Like I can't believe I used 2.5 years of my life because we were drop shipping and doing Amazon FBA with like everything else in that market. And I got all my initial experience there. And that led me to like, I had like 50K followers on that Instagram account. And then that's how I started the podcast. So to go back to your question there too, each entrepreneurship opportunity will lead you to the next one. So don't think you need to know what you're doing in 5 years or even 3 years or even one, because if you asked me my goals like 2 months ago, I would just say like 100K YouTube subscribers, scaling this consulting thing. And then a month ago, I came up with this product invention idea, and I was like, actually, I don't know how much I want to be in consulting. All of a sudden, I was like, wait, this would be cool. I kind of want to do this. And then now I'm more like seeing I might just stick with consulting for the end of the year, but who knows? And it's a mix of what you want to do, what actually makes sense to do. Like, so where's the trends at? Because a lot of entrepreneurship opportunities actually do have short windows. Maybe they have a long window that you can get some kind of sales, but they have micro windows that it's just so easy if you're in it at the right time. It's like being in the gold rush. Like, there's still people who pan for gold. Sure, you can still sell your shovels, but if you were selling shovels during the gold rush, it was just too easy. So you do want to have a perspective that does not fully say, all right, what do I want to do regardless of where money is moving around? That's not a good way to make the decision. You want to analyze marketing trends and then put yourself in those positions. So what you want to do, what the market actually needs at that time and where the money is, and then wherever your skill sets currently are too, which is mostly found from your previous opportunities. And that's why really just getting started is such great advice, because if I never started that e-commerce company, I would have never started the podcast. If I would have ever started the podcast and started consulting all these e-commerce brands, I would have never came up with my next invention, because this invention I invented for one of my clients, and then he didn't want to run with it because he's just like, I don't want to do Instagram. He's in his 60s and he's like, I give up on Instagram. And I was like, and then I reapproached the idea. I was like, wait, he never took that idea. I was like, let me see if I want to run with that. So it's just kind of funny how things work out.
Yeah, it's cool to see your journey of going one thing to another, and and I have found myself wanting to know the journey before I start. Want to have it clear in my head, so at least I know where I'm going. And to your point, if you know something is attractive to you because you have a good idea and you have enough confidence to get going, then go for it, because if you keep going, it's gonna lead you to your next opportunity. I like that a lot. And to keep your head up and just know that, I think what you said before, failure is not, it doesn't mean go start an idea and go all the way to the end. It means continuing because you have a longer end goal. And for those people that are looking, because you specialize in social media, do you have any tips for someone that maybe in the very beginning stages, like they got the idea, they got something rolling, they got some type of following, they have, like, is there like maybe like 3 tips you can give to someone that's starting out, and they could be in like new to social media, and they have an idea and they want to run with it. What is something you can give?
Yeah. So you do want to run it by the test of, does this solve a problem? And this is hard to answer if you don't have that much experience, because a lot of ideas that I hear now at this point, whatever, when people ask me what I do and then they tell me, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, I'll even ask like, what are some of your ideas? I can point you in the right direction. They don't even have any ideas. So if you have no ideas, then you might not have the innovator quality that you actually kind of need to be like innately have. So I'll say there's a little bit of natural talent that can give you a big boost. If you're not just flooded with like tons of inventions, like all the time, like your entire life, you've just been inventing things naturally as you see the world, you do have to have that quality. Because the other day I was like, should I get into inventing things? I was like, all right, you have 5 minutes to look around the room and make another invention. And I made 2 in like a minute and a half. I was like, both of those would work, because now I have enough experience that I can know what would work, because I've consulted so many businesses and I know like what kind of when I say like, does it solve a problem? You can run it, by enough experience. So for that reason, if I'm giving you guys honest advice, you do need to talk to someone who really knows what you're doing about this idea. Because I could tell everyone and their mom about the aquarium smart feeder and they can tell me it's a great idea. But if I did actually talk to someone, it was like my business partner's, he was like in a master's program, and there was someone like that would test business ideas at the college to see if they could get approved for their incubation phase. And we met up with her, and she's the only one who said, it doesn't seem like it solves a big enough problem. And I'm like, screw you, my mom said it would work. So You have to be able to take advice from someone who's in a position that really knows it. So something I do for people, I do offer a free call where you just tell me your business idea and I kind of just give you to you straight. And a lot of times there's some really great ideas out there. But if it solves a problem, you do have a chance to make it work. It's just a matter of figuring out the technicals. If you are a brilliant marketer, have insane work ethic, all the talent in the world, tons of money, tons of time, no dependence, and you try to sell the wrong, like a product that does not solve a problem or to a market that is too small or doesn't really have that much money going around, there's absolutely nothing you can do that will ever make it work. So you need to know this. I have clients that have no idea what they're doing marketing wise, honestly. And they would be the first to tell you the same. They really don't know what they're doing. They'll even come on the calls sometimes and complain about whatever's going on in their life. And then I'll ask what they did in sales. And they're like, 50 grand last month. And I was like, let me see your ads. And it's just like the simplest picture. And they're just selling a product that people already buy. And then I talked to really brilliant innovators because innovation can sometimes screw you too, because you just get overly innovative, especially once you already know what you want to do. And now you're just stuck there thinking about, oh, in 3 years, I'll do this. 4 years, I'll do this. Like, what do you need to do right now? You need to send an email right now, not think about what's happening in 4 years, maybe. So like the innovator can also screw you in a way, but you do have to have it to initially have ideas to act on it all. But these guys just have so much knack for marketing and they're making no money because they just invented some random product that like they didn't even validate. So it's just the product you're selling and the market you're selling it to will have about 80 to 90% to do with your success. So for that reason, if you can choose those things right, just know it is a matter of time before you get it, and just focus on daily action and always being better than your former self. The reason why is because you'll always realize that you are. And it's a lot more confidence boosting when you're playing the compare game in that way. And when you start getting your product on social media and seeing all these other people who are on, the common way to say it, like they're on their chapter 27, you're on your chapter 2, like don't play the compare game there. But when you look at your chapter 1 versus 2, you're always like, oh, dang, like shit's happening here. So to wrap up there, the 3 points that I said, the first one is you have to make sure your idea is good, because if you know it's good, then you can confidently take action and know that you're eventually going to get there. Otherwise, you're just going down a path that no amount of work ethic or clever marketing can ever fix. So you do want to figure that out first. If you don't have anyone in your life that you know is totally certified to give you this advice because they have online marketing experience as well, not just, oh, my friend's dad owns a business here. They know online marketing, very successful at it, or do not ask them. So if you don't have anyone in your life that you can do that, just go to my website, socialbamboo.com, and book a call with me and I'll help you out with it. Second thing, daily action. And the third one is only compare yourself to your former self. So you can always see that you're winning and making progress. If you just do those 3 things, then it is just a matter of time. And I would say, I say that 95% of people, if they do those things, will find a way to make good money after 3 years. So if you're cool just being patient, then you'll figure it out.
Cool. And I guess if you do it before 30 years, you're one of the few. So give it some time. I like how you
Yeah.
at least gave it like some idea of what to expect. And so as we wrap up, and thank you for the last 3. I hope everybody was listening because that's awesome. Um, where can we find you on social media and contact you? I think you mentioned it before, but like maybe to reiterate.
I'm Social Bamboo pretty much everywhere except for Instagram. That guy won't give me the account. So Social Bamboo with an underscore at the end. Super annoying. But yes, socialbamboo.com for free resources. I have a free Instagram ads course for 2023. So if you're looking to get the word out about your product and services a lot quicker, just don't know how to structure your first ad campaign, that's a free course on my website. It's called How to Build and Monetize a Following in 90 Days or Less. Or you can just book a free call with me if you'd rather just talk to someone. And it is me, not someone on my team. I'm not really a fan of the coaches who have you talk to someone on their team, and then once you buy the coaching, it's not even them giving you the coaching. The ones who make a ton of money are the ones that you're never going to talk to. So if you'd like to talk to a coach that knows what he's doing, but is not trying to scale to the moon, trying to close every person on why they should leave their job and become an entrepreneur, you'll actually talk to me. So would be pleased to chat with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. And if you enjoyed what you listened to, got a little ha-has, a little laughs out of it, feel free to share with a friend. If you're listening, like and hit the, I think the subscribe button. And if you're watching, then you know that I'm staring at you right now. um, and what is it? They usually say smash the like button, hit
Right.
subscribe, share with a friend. Maybe gently tap it. You don't want to break your keyboard. Thanks again for hopping on, Derek. It was a pleasure, man.
Absolutely, man.